welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are live from Maya Cinemas in North Las Vegas to talk about Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. And I got a great lineup of guests for this one. We've got Jason Harris returning to the show, and first-timers Derek Sante and KC Christon. We get into a whole bunch of great puzzle pieces on this one. A very lively conversation about this movie. But yeah, that's coming up here in a second. Thank you to everybody who showed up to the Maya Cinemas for this screening. It was a very last-minute one, and we had a nice little turnout. So yeah, thanks to everyone who was there. Before we get to the show, I want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. We've got a lot of episodes on the way, so make sure you're subscribed. You'll find out about all of them as they come out. You can also follow us on social media at Piecing Pod, and don't forget to join our Facebook group, Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. So with that said, let's talk about Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. All right, so I'm David Rosen, the host of the Piecing It Together podcast. We're about to talk about the movie that we just watched, but first I want to get to my guests here, although really quickly I just want to say we're just thinking of all of our friends out there in California. Just awful everything that's going on, but yeah, I just wanted to say that really quickly. But let's get to our guests here. First time on the show, Derek Sante. How's it going, Derek?
Everything's great.
Absolutely. Tell people about you and what you do.
I am a film critic on a couple different networks, TV, online. I freelance for many other companies as well. So whether it is film companies or media companies, I'll cover events or record events. I also have a production company. I've been in media for 26 years, I think now.
Yeah.
I did radio to begin with. I produced Seacrest in LA for a while. I've had TV shows, morning radio shows. I've been on TV. I've done everything from Regal Cinemas, iHeartMedia, and then other national networks too. And I'm to the point now where I just do what I want because that's what I want to do with my life.
There you go. That is a good place to be in.
Somebody pays me, I show up. That's the only way it works these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did Dave pay you to be here?
He did not.
Yeah, but I do have some popcorn left over if you'd like it.
I've done better. I've done worse.
KC Christon, first time on the show. Thank you so much for being here. Tell everybody about you and what you do.
All right. So I am the main writer and director of the Dog City films. Dog City Chapter 1 is out now, and we just wrapped post for Dog City Chapter 2. We're very excited about it, jotting down some notes for the third chapter, and we're looking to premiere Chapter 2 within the next several weeks.
Right on.
So we're hoping, it's received well. Chapter 1 was received very well, more well than expected.
Yeah.
For our first time, but we're very excited about this second installment.
Right on. And we'll talk a little more about Dog City a little bit later. Jason Harris, been on the show more than anybody pretty much, but introduce yourself.
Trophy or a plaque or something like that.
Yeah, we'll get it for you.
That's right.
I heard there's some leftover popcorn up there.
You can share it with Derek.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm Jason Harris. I have a podcast that Dave produces called Awesome Movie Year. I'm on Piecing It Together at least once a month for the trailer episodes. I'm a stand-up comedian. Come see me at Jimmy Kimmel's like these guys did. Thank you, guys. I have a residency there, and I also am a writer, actor, director. Gonna be in Dog City 3, right?
Absolutely. All right. I didn't see. Yeah.
Right on. So we're going to get into Den of Thieves 2 Pantera right now, which I was so excited for this movie. The first one, kind of this almost like a cult classic in the making. It did well enough when it first came out, but it wasn't really considered to be this great movie or anything like that. And it kind of picked up steam over the years since it came out. And this is, I believe, 6 years later since the first one dropped. And so it's been a long time coming. And I think just to kind of jump into it like right away, what I like to do is start the show off with a puzzle piece. That's what we call a movie that might have inspired the movie that we just watched. And so we're going to go through talking puzzle pieces here. That's the thing about this show, piecing it together. And I just want to like start right off because we all know, anyone who watched the first Den of Thieves, like everybody talked about how it's like a dirtbag version of Heat. Like that was kind of like the thing. And I did not expect this one to kind of switch gears, kind of almost switch genres in a way, and go for Ronin, which is kind of the setup here, where it's like this big heist. You got a female head of the whole thing. You got team members who are let go and turn out to be a big problem. They got this impossible gig of recovering this kind of MacGuffin or whatever you want to call it, and ends up in a big chase sequence. And it's almost like they switched '90s action classics in a way. And so I think it's something I definitely was not expecting from this movie. I knew it would be bigger. I mean, they kind of got to go bigger. That's what you do when you do sequels to action movies. But didn't expect it to kind of shift into a different one. What do you guys think? Did any of you also think about Ronin?
Oh yeah, I mean the chase scene easily was Ronin, but the idea of an undercover officer, Robert De Niro being replaced here, and then beyond that, just also taking in the European feel, the same kind of like French Connection kind of thing we've seen in the past, and then just bringing it together by showing American street thuggery on nice open fields, which are all picturesque. Even when they're shooting each other, it's picturesque.
Yeah.
So that must be nice. So.
Yeah, absolutely. They used their budget very well, I think, in this movie. Even if, I mean, we'll get into some criticisms along the way. Maybe it's too long, like the first one was. But I mean, they used their budget well, though, and I think it looks great. They're all the locations that they are shooting up and planning heists throughout.
Not enough shooting up.
That's true.
You mentioned it's like dirtbag Heat. That's the charm of Den of Thieves, right?
Sure.
You have that great shootout at the beginning.
Yeah.
And this one, like you said, it could be any heist movie set in Europe, and those are pieces that we'll all say. But I feel like they totally missed the mark on this one because part of the charm was the skeezy cop who does things his own way to get them. And like, even though it was all a setup, we had none of that here, right? So you had none of that cat and mouse stuff, and that was the entire reason. That's why Heat is so brilliant, and because of the way it executes it. And I feel like that's what the first Den of Thieves did, not as well as Heat, but Heat's a classic, but it did okay. It did well enough, and then it totally just like says fuck it to all of that in this one.
And that's exactly what I mean with like the kind of switching gears. It's almost just using a different movie as a blueprint in a way. And so, I mean, it wasn't going for a Heat type thing this time around. So, I mean, whether or not you like it, I mean, definitely the first one's better. I mean, there's no question about that. But I do like that they tried something different here. But
they had to open it up as a problem.
But,
I mean, if you look at this director, Christian, was it good to get? How do you say this?
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, so his
Christian G.
Yes. So of course he made the Fallen movies, of course, as well.
Yeah.
With Gerard, and so when you look at the fact that there was always going to be more of these, you can see so many things in here because. First, when they decided they were going to make more of them, it needed to be a bigger world. They couldn't just do it in L.A. again. It wasn't going to happen, especially since they were trying to make O'Shea something bigger than that and smarter than that, too. And they really started to lean up towards that in the beginning, and then they kind of just threw it away midway point just to be like, okay, now this is more of a Heat action, thought-out plan, but he's not a mastermind like we thought. Right. He is also bumbling his way through it, and there are smarter people out there as well, even with the twists, which necessarily weren't his as well. And then from there, I just got flavors of Fast and Furious of, hey, let's make some money. We want more of these. Let's make money. Yeah. I mean, I noticed when they had Doritos, and I noticed when they started to drink the Pepsis. I noticed a bunch of that stuff like that too, the Ciroc as well. So product placement was there. So there's definitely ways to make money all throughout this as well as the fact that they said Porsche 80 times every time the Porsche came by. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of that stuff in there, which is fine. That's the way these movies are made. Yeah. But there was definitely a lot of things where they kind of turned it 5 different ways over just because they want to make more movies, Yeah. Lionsgate understands it. They've seen Universal with Fast, and they made 4 John Wicks, and they're like, how can we get some more regular stuff out of here? And Gerard Butler, you know, when he does one thing right, he'll do 5 of it right too, apparently, or just do it, even if it's right or not.
Yeah, he just likes to work, that guy. But yeah, my friend Will turned to me and he was like, "You're telling me these Italian mobsters drink Ciroc? Really?"
Right.
There's no way in hell.
You know, I will say this though, that I think they did a pretty good job with this particular film as the sequel, because as he said, how many times can you rob something in L.A.?
Exactly.
And the reality is that if you're going to do a job like that, you know, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some planning. You're going to have to set up the players so that it's just something that just doesn't look like, oh, you just walked in there and everyone's a bumbling fool.
Sure.
So you need time for this story to lay out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, they had a fantastic budget, no doubt.
Yeah.
And they did use it. However, like he said, with the Ciroc and the Doritos, I thought that was kind of
Yeah, it's a little much.
As much as I like, you know, these younger guys like O'Shea Jackson Jr. getting some shine and getting some recognition, I just didn't buy that he could be the guy to do that.
Even from the last one, he was an interesting.
Yeah, he was an interesting pick.
Yeah.
I gotta say, he's fucking terrible in this movie. Okay, let's just call it what it is. That you want your first puzzle piece? It's a garbage dump where he got his French accent from, because that is one of the worst accents I've ever seen on film.
Well, that's why they
life.
dropped it pretty quickly, though. I mean, they
Yeah.
started,
Like, in
then everything
between
was like,
words and
let's talk
sentences,
English
right?
just to make sure everyone's good here.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk
Yeah.
English now here so some people won't understand. Like, it's just, okay, let's just say this is easier for all the people with training wheels.
But I don't dislike him as an actor, but he
Right,
is totally. I mean, and I
Yeah,
thought
he was kind of
fine
out of
in
his
the first
league
one, but-
out of this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it, how many fucking kids have been in stuff only because their parents, and they've done far worse.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know,
I think he's
I'll
a good
give him
actor,
I'll
so.
give him a solid C grade.
Yeah.
You know, but I wouldn't have thought of him
Right.
for that role.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Absolutely.
didn't mind
There's
him
a
in the
reason
first one.
NWA
Right.
is his best role, because he looks like his dad that much.
Right, and
Like,
they
that's
referenced
the reason.
the fucked up. They
The
you
fucked
know,
up
they
release
referenced
line
it.
that was
I
good.
mean, it's not only a reference, but it's like let's shine the light on it.
It was
Like,
cute.
fucked up.
But that's his
I like
element,
it.
though. That's his
Yeah.
element.
I
You
like
know, I'm never gonna do Shakespeare. That's just not what I do. Could I be a bad cop? Could I be a gangster? That's what I grew up around. Yeah, I saw that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's easily accessible for my person to get into that character.
Sure.
That would be challenging.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't even know if I would have taken that role.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big role to take.
Because
but-
it is.
Yeah.
How do you pull that off? And
Absolutely.
you see this cat who looks like he's from South Central.
Yeah.
Walking down the streets of Nice, France. Hey, who the hell is that?
Yeah. Who's this?
But-
Well, that's
I
when
don't-
they're all wearing designer clothes. And did you notice the sunglass budget on this? Everyone had
talking
really
about
nice
Ray-Bans.
I love
sunglasses
that.
throughout the
Gangster
whole thing.
sunglasses.
And I know it's probably some metaphor for like, oh, you know, we're high, we're secretive, we're
You think
we're,
there's
we're-
metaphors
we're
in this
debonair-
movie?
Oh, they're not subtle and they're not great, but they're there. It's just there's a lot of times that you meet directors or writers where they talk about, my God, this is so great, and you're like, none of that matters.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I was looking at the editing, I'm like, okay, well, we can edit this like this, but you don't need to edit 15 times in 15 seconds either.
There
Like,
was a lot of that
a lot of
choppy
chop,
edit.
chop,
Yeah,
chop,
yeah,
chop,
yeah.
chop, 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 when you could have just let the actors sit. But when you see that kind of editing, most times it's because someone isn't like delivering what they need to.
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, and you got to remember too, they know who their target audience is as well.
Yeah.
So for someone to be able to pick this apart the way these gentlemen and I
Yeah.
and you can do, your average theater goer is like, oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They're you know.
But speaking on that, right? The way this movie got popular, I think I said it on piecing it together, was it became the new Shawshank Redemption, right? If you flipped on TNT, this was on all day, every day for like years, right? And I think it caught. So if that's the reason that it caught, then I think people want. I get it. You can't set it in LA, that's fine. It
But you
doesn't
think
need to
they
be.
want the same shit over
But
and
you
over
need
again?
that. You need that. This had no grit, and the first one, the grit is what made the movie to me.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. We're recording this like the day it
yeah.
opens. Like, I wonder how people are going to
The
receive
first one
it.
had grit, but this one had a little bit more story. You know,
Yeah.
look at all these new players
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are involved.
Absolutely.
I'm the problem is I get flavors of Ocean's 11, like
Yeah.
where they go to like Europe and try to do all this stuff, and you could just tell it's just for them. And they're
Right.
just kind of making stuff work. I mean, it's like when you watch Adam Sandler movies. He wanted to make a movie in Hawaii and
Sure.
tax deduct it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's certain things like that. And so that's where I see a lot of this movie. And when it comes to certain movies on cable or whatever, it's probably just Lionsgate wholesaling everything. So you can watch, Den of Thieves, but you're going to watch all 4 John Wicks. And then you're also going to watch, 5 other movies, all the Fallen
Sounds
movies.
like a great afternoon,
Olympus,
actually.
Olympus has fallen. London has fallen. Like, it's all going to be
Right,
there because they're just
right.
selling it in one big block and
Yeah.
say, take all the Lionsgate movies, throw them on TNT and TBS, and be happy.
Well,
So,
Derek, we got from you Fast and Furious and Ocean's 11. I want to go over to KC. Do you got a puzzle piece for us? Something that this movie you think it might have been inspired by, other than those two so far?
Well, like he said, it had flavors of Ronin, had flavors of the Italian Job.
Italian Job. Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
Let's see what else was a good heist movie. Yeah, it had flavors of the Ocean franchise a little bit. It's challenging when you write this stuff, which is why I don't watch a lot of things, because it's gonna spill over one way or the other. I mean, who's really doing some truly original shit?
Well, especially in like a TNT action movie, like Jason was saying, like it's a kind of a thing that a
Right.
certain kind of audience just wants, and they want that thing again. But yeah, I mean, the Italian Job is definitely a good one to add to the
Yeah.
list. It goes right along with some of the things that we've already been talking about, and I think it like fits perfectly with those movies. And you can kind of draw a line between all of these things: Heat, Ronin, into Italian Job, either version. But yeah, I mean, definitely a great one to include here.
the problem with a lot of these movies, especially when you saw the last one, because you could tell the writer left. For the first one, he left it open. So when you get to those and you start to watch those movies, you notice that the ultimate moments are the penultimate moments, because of the fact that you don't get to see, the twist is more important than the fight. Because the last one, you have Pablo Schreiber,
Right.
and that big gun scene wasn't as cool as it should have been. You thought it'd be more heated. It was okay, but it wasn't something that could have been amazing, because they all got killed pretty quickly, and it all kind of just
Guess we had
ended
this
up
other
just
stuff.
it just rolled out and happened. It wasn't something that was like, big huge standoff. Same thing here. Like, there was some good gun scenes in that fight in the cars was great, but it was also the ramp up to the very end, so he can join this family, this mafia family too.
Yeah.
So it's always there's always got to be an end result to a lot of these things, and so when you get to the end, you can kind of look back and kind of jump back in steps and go, okay, well, that's why this had happened. That's why this had to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of where we are now. Like I said, I could pick apart tons of things in this, but at the end of the day, it's demographics in this day and age,
Yeah, pretty much. Jason, let's go to one.
I'll
from you.
pick it apart. Fuck that. So this movie is like, it just insults your intelligence. This guy, Gerard Butler, if you've seen the first one, very smart cop, and he doesn't know what gelato is in this movie. Give me a fucking break, dude. He doesn't know how to say croissant, even though they say it 12 times.
You
Like,
could be like putting on a a
Stop,
thing,
stop. Just like you. Okay, so like here's an example, right? Like he goes in, to the French police. They show him the footage, right? He sees O'Shea. He's like, no, that's not the guy, right? Then there's no reason for that scene, because obviously they set it up that like, hey, I'm just faking him out, right? So the whole point of that is to fake out the audience. So what did he circle back and be like, hey, I didn't want to tell you in front of the other cops, but I'm going to trick them, and then we're going to arrest them after the heist? Like, it's so stupid. It's just there to fuck you as an audience member, but it doesn't make sense. It's not like, at least the first one, the explanation made sense. You want to talk about something like Usual Suspects or a twist, something that where the twist is like built and built and built and actually has some logic to it. This is just like, hey, we're going to trick the audience. But really you just tricked yourself into doing something dumb, you know?
Well,
So-
that's where some of those scenes were put in. There was a lot of extra exposition. That's why this was longer, of a lot of stuff where they need to go, okay, we need to show him, going to the church and having problems and showing that he is a man who needs this and needs all these problems. And so that's why they showed the extra Gerard Butler scenes throughout, him being a drunk, him partying, him going crazy, trying to show that he is somebody who needs this and should be part of this and shouldn't be questioned. And so there was like 5 or 6 misdirection points that actually made this movie 20 or 30 minutes longer than it need to be,
yeah.
but they put it there to make sure it's like, hey, don't look over here, don't look over here, he's just a drunk, he's a guy who's taking drugs, he's okay, just he's part of the crew now, look at him go.
But that all fits in with the character that they've built over 2 movies. The scene that I'm alluding to where he goes in and looks at the footage is like, no, that's not the guy, even though he's really just building a case against him to get him arrested. That goes against the character logic of
That's the kind of thing you always kind
I
of
hate
pick
it.
apart.
I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's like your big
it's
thing.
insulting to an audience, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, as an audience member, like I saw it, he's like that guy who will do anything to get the bad guy. We saw that in the first one, right?
Yeah.
So like, this was just there. If you're gonna turn him, okay, you could turn him because he was like a dirty cop if you want to go that way, but like we didn't go that way.
Yeah.
So then we don't need that swerve there. That swerve is just ridiculous.
I'm actually insulted as an American because they kept on throwing Americans down. You're like, this guy's a Scottish accent, so why is he being thrown in as American for everything? Like he didn't learn how to say croissant when he was in Scotland, and he had that accent for half of his life probably, or something else. And so it's always like, why are you throwing all this stuff here when he's, I don't know. There's a lot of times we just kind of forget that he's supposed to be this person or two. It's I don't know. It's like the Highlander when they had if you ever read the book, Sean Connery's character is supposed to be the Spaniard, but the Spaniard spoke with a Scottish accent too. So there's a lot of stuff like that kind of just throws me off and pisses me off because I'm like, just if he's who this is, let him be this way, or let him try an accent. If he's too lazy for an accent, give me a little bit of a better story then.
Well, there you go.
You guys are experts.
No one else is gonna
Your
figure out
average
that,
movie
right?
goer
Yeah.
is not dissecting this
They're
the way
watching
it
Gerard
is.
Butler for Gerard
They
Butler's
spent-
sake.
And
No. There's
the
all of
question
that.
is, and to some of the people, did it keep your attention? Now if you dozed off, you were on your phone, but yeah, for the most part, a lot of these things that are being said are, while they're valid and true, your average moviegoer is not gonna.
Yeah.
This is PhD stuff. Your average moviegoer is high school.
Well, that's
They
the thing,
spent
like,
$30 million. You would think you would put that type of care, if you're going to put that much care into the scenery.
I mean, look
and
at the
everything,
biggest
you should-
movies. They usually are at this kind of a level, though. I mean, so it's not like this is
Yeah.
the first time we're seeing something that's kind of below that level.
It's
that
valid.
you
Gentlemen.
want.
It's valid for the
Gentlemen,
demographic. It's
O'Shea
valid.
Jackson Jr., Gerard Butler. What did you really expect?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Did you really expect Hamlet with Denzel Washington, directed by the Coen brothers? No.
Why did O'Shea, who was supposed to be a French person who lived in France, have like 50 Cent's chain on the whole time as
Oh,
well?
I didn't notice that. That's a good Easter egg.
Yeah,
that
it
was-
was like a
that was.
huge
Yeah.
50 Cent chain on, and he was supposed to be like a debonair French gentleman. And I'm like,
Well, no,
The
he
hell
was
this
from
dude?
the UK and Ghana, so that was his. And so when you look at those cultural,
He's all over the
especially
place.
the
50 Cent was in
It's
the
fine.
first one, though. So
Jason,
well,
did-
50 Cent produced this one too, didn't
yeah,
he?
he did.
Yeah.
He's
So,
down the
yeah.
street. We could have got him in here. He's over doing his show last night.
That's right. We got the residency. Jason, was the usual suspects your puzzle piece there for the
No,
twist?
I think it was just giving you guys a better version.
Yeah. Give us a quick piece, and then we'll
no,
continue
you
to
guys
the next
mentioned,
round here.
obviously, Italian Job and Oceans were the first 2 on my list, but I'll go to another one since we're talking about the idea of taking a film and then it does well, and now we're going to kind of blow it out and set it all around Europe. And also the way this was shot, you could see was very like influenced by the Bourne franchise.
All right.
You know?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. That's I could. Yeah.
Yeah, so just that kind of kinetic camera movement, but also the idea of like, oh, cool, like let's go to Sardinia now for no apparent reason. Like, So just the kind of geography porn of the whole thing.
I was dying. Every single scene in the first hour of the movie had a different geography
right.
tag at the bottom.
Lazy too.
Yeah, it's so
Although
funny.
I will say I enjoyed looking at the scenery.
Yeah, it looked
hey,
great.
hey, I would much rather see that than Youngstown, Ohio.
Well, we don't realize how big
There's
America
nothing to
is. Like some countries are really small.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
so
gonna take?
you could cross over a country line without knowing it in Europe.
That's
So
very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Well, I'm going to go to another puzzle piece here. I kept thinking of The Dark Knight as far as the whole "you complete me" thing between the Joker and Batman, and these two guys are going to keep
that's
going
a
in the
fraud
third
line.
one. Yep, fraud line. Yep, they're going to keep going in the third one if this does well, and then they'll just keep it going. But I mean, they actually are, buddies. They're, not going to actually fight each other. But that whole kind of setup of they're on the other opposite sides, but they kind of don't exist without each other, and that kind of thing that pushes them.
But again, the last scenes where they're in the prison and he's like, a tiger can't change its stripes, right? Like he's trying to do what he should do, right? To lock them away for
Right.
being
Yeah,
robbers.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
But there's obviously, he says to him, sit back and to the left, right?
Sure.
To JFK, so to speak, right? So obviously he's, kind of
An
middleman
angel.
this whole thing with the mafia rescue.
Yeah.
So it's like, what did he really do? Like, I stopped them from stealing jewels, but now I'm going to give you a chance to steal more
But they
stuff.
left that
Like,
all
it's
vague because
so
they didn't say
stupid.
what happened
So-
to him. They didn't say where he went after he got let go from the sheriffs. And then again, you don't know where all this exposition is going to come in of him being connected to the Italian mafia somehow or some way. And so hopefully we'll find out in 3, or it's just going to be one of those things we just eat.
But I
as
just
a
saw a
sandwich.
movie for 2 hours and 20 minutes, so you can't tell me that, like, well, we don't
No.
know what's going to happen.
You have to set up
2
the
hours
sequel.
and 20 minutes to show me.
No,
You
they're
have
not.
to set that.
I don't
That's
think
how
they're going to
movies
tell
work.
us. They're just going to assume that we should know.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek, let's go to one more from you.
Which one?
One more puzzle piece from
One
you.
more puzzle piece for this film?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give it more levels than it is, and I just keep on looking at this film as something that, like I said, the Fast and Furious is kind of where I see it, because I see the whole Brian and Dom thing, and the next one's going to be about family or something like that.
Well, they were also
so,
all around drinking,
all around
at the
drinking.
end.
And well, but that was the thing, Pantera is Panthers. Of course, that wasn't really subtle either. So
Yeah.
Pantera, Panthers, and that's what they had to do. The whole idea was to take down the Panthers from the beginning. That's what they took down. And so then you have the octopus now. So the octopus. So I don't know what other animal we're going to have that kind of comes into play here. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll throw out, James Bondy, octopus and everything else too, and Octopussy and all
Yeah,
these other,
sure.
Goldfingers. The problem is it's not necessarily where they are now. It's where they have to go next. They have to expand and make it bigger and better. They just they went to the Federal Reserve. Now they went to the biggest diamond exchange. So, yeah, where?
He wants a 2-parter for the next one.
That's
See,
great.
that's what general audiences want. They want this, and they want it to be 2 parts back
If
to
Defying
back.
Gravity's in part 1, that's the only one I'm watching.
he's got a really good point here. It's they have a real challenge to where they're going to go,
Yeah.
and how they're going to develop this in the 3. Yeah, who do you rob now? International Monetary Fund,
The
Federal Reserve.
It's good. 100%. It's going to be something that we didn't know was the power and the money or something. It's going to be like the International Seed Reserve actually is made out of gold or something like that. It's going to be something weird that we didn't know was there.
Well, who you're robbing is the movie paying public by making him pay for this. But if you want to
that's
tie
not-
it together
that's
with
not-
this director,
that's
then have him like rob the White House in the next one and just build that universe out. So stupid.
Las Vegas?
My
Is
dad
it,
thinks Vegas. I'm
That's
down.
Oceans.
Yeah, that's Oceans, but I'm down for that. Let's go to one more from KC. One more puzzle piece for this. What do you think? Anything
Man,
else?
honestly, I'm kind of at a loss. I think we've covered just about the whole gamut of how this fits.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of going in a circle. It's
Yeah.
every one of these kinds of
It's
action-
a piece from here, piece from there,
Yeah.
etc. And
All right. Jason, what about you? Do you have one more?
Yeah, I have a few more if you want them. So thank you.
My
Are
mom
you,
said
are you saying
no.
no to me or no to the
Absolutely
movie?
not.
So well, first of all, uncut gems you have to put in there because of the
Sure.
focus
All
on
right.
the the diamond, and of course it's always a Hasidic Jew who's checking the diamond, right? So
Yeah,
we're gonna go stereotype it. Did anyone notice that the French police symbol looked like the Thundercat symbol, or was I the only
Pantera. Pantera. It's
Yeah.
the Thundercat, sure.
And all of their bulletproof vests just said police in English on them, too.
I love sure did. Police
want me to
in
just-
English.
Dave, should I just run through these, or
Give us one more, because I want to not, we want the audience to maybe have a chance.
all right?
So,
Okay, let's go to some more interesting ones. Logan Lucky, the Soderbergh movie, where they're doing a robbery as the sporting event is going on, the race, right? So this to me played off
What
of
year was that?
2017 maybe?
yeah, that sounds about right.
It wasn't
17
that
or
long
8.
ago.
No, maybe
Okay.
18 then.
But anyway,
Yeah.
right? So they're doing it while like a NASCAR race is
yeah.
going on, and they're using the sporting event as a distraction.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they do here with the soccer match.
Yeah.
As Ali and I were talking back there, for the entire movie, they're like to the concierge, "We have a spot for you at the table." And then he gets to the fucking restaurant and they're not at a fucking table because we're all fucking idiots. So like, it's a bar. Give me a break.
Well, to Derek's point about being offended as an American, they all can't pay attention to anything when a soccer event is on.
I know, but just if you're going to write like, hey, we're going to be wearing a blue sweater, and then they show up and he's in a yellow sweater, like just use your own. If you've already set the rule out, just follow the rule that you've set, dude.
Yeah,
Come on.
I actually had
gotcha.
hopes for another level because when they were emptying the vault and they were looking for the pink uncut diamond, I thought maybe someone else had taken it and maybe we're going to have another level of things to happen.
Sure.
But no, they just didn't see it. It's fine. It was underneath it. It was in a shadow or it was lost somewhere for a second. But he found it. He didn't leave without it. So.
Luckily, it was there.
Yeah.
I want to open it up to the floor, and I do have these cool Den of Thieves hats to give out if you come up with a good puzzle piece we haven't mentioned yet. So does anybody have anything they thought of for this? Obviously, we can go in a lot of different action movie directions. We got one right here.
Blue Streak with Martin Lawrence.
Hell yeah.
He hit the diamond, and then it became a police department.
Okay. God, I haven't seen that in so long. We were just talking about that, Jason, on our Bad Boys 2 episode, Blue Streak. Yeah, I need to watch that again. But yeah, hiding it in like the place that, is obviously you don't want to be there.
I literally talked about that movie a week ago, and the reason was because there was like 5 or 6 movies in a row where Luke Wilson was just an idiot throughout each one of the movies. He was just a dumb guy, like Legally Blonde. Oh, she is cool. She is smart. Yeah. And then that same thing. Oh, he is a good detective. Like there was just like 5 movies where he played the same guy over and over again.
Yeah.
But that goes to your audience.
Yeah, they love it.
Get what they want.
Eat it up.
Every time we're going to mention Blue Streak or any Martin Lawrence 90s movie, I just have to say, when I left, you were like, plickety cow. And now you're like, waboom.
Well, this is another thing, too. You have to look at the producers. Producers matter so much when these movies are made.
Right.
50 Cent being a producer means there's always going to be a little bit of street, but in a higher atmosphere. I mean, he's a guy who paid Robert De Niro to be in a movie where he starred in a couple times over, and other big people, too. So he's always going to take the street and elevate it to some, worldly kind of way.
Yeah,
so you have to always look at the producers when these things kind of take shape story-wise.
Yeah, absolutely. Any others? We got one right over here.
22 Jump Street.
22 specifically.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
tell us
second
about
one.
that.
So obviously bigger production than the first one, it seems. Bigger story, more characters, more scenery shots. So like they go to Miami. I think,
Okay,
like
yeah.
the beach or something. There's like parts where they are at odds with each other within the movie.
Sure.
At they are at the end. So yeah, just definitely a bigger story that's more crazier than the first one.
Absolutely.
The first movies are more grounded.
Who slept with Ice Cube's daughter in this one?
They should have cut off Rob Riggle's penis in this too. I agree. So.
When are we getting 23 and 24 and 25 and all
We
those
don't
other
need
Jump
them. They're like
Streets?
Hopefully
50 years
never.
old.
Yeah.
Undercover students anymore.
They have to go bigger and it has to get more ridiculous. And that's one, obviously I feel like me and KC like this more than anybody else on the panel, but I really wanted to get more into the buddy kind of aspect of it. And that's one of my big kind of
Well,
disappointments.
that's the next
with
one's
movie.
all going to be
I
about.
guess so.
Swimming in the ocean. It's
Yeah.
all the pandering and all the jokes and stuff. It was like, okay, like now they're friends, They're
Give us more.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
that's the problem is that somewhere along the way, like I said, they took the mastermind that O'Shea Jackson's character was and just dumbed him down throughout the whole movie. He started up here, and by the end, he was like just a total moron throughout the whole way. And so he's not coming back in. I'm guessing somewhere on the way, Gerard Butler went into the director and be like, hey, my name's number one on this. So I don't know what you're thinking, but this guy.
Yeah, all right. Mom was flailing her arm. I can't wait to hear it.
O'Shea was great in Cocaine Bear because
Yeah.
I watch it every time it's on.
Okay.
And I think he does comedy better than drama.
Okay.
Product placement, which none of you probably would know, considering Gerard to me was such a schlep that I wouldn't even look at twice. 2 out of 3 of his bracelets were John Hardy and David Yurman.
Yep, and his rings.
Some damn pricey shit for that ugly ass guy. I mean, I would never have expected him.
But see, they didn't mention it, so that means he probably just got him as gifts and said, I'm going to wear these.
Okay, because those things
It happens a
really
lot,
not
yeah.
cheap. And last but not least, I think the elevator shaft scene, I'll take Bruce Willis over this one anytime.
All right.
And then I think 100 years ago, there was a movie with Sean Connery with another elevator shaft scene. And also it would have been either an escape or a robbery. Or
Anyone know which one she's
No,
on?
but I had
The one
Mission-
with Catherine Zeta-Jones?
That's
Oh my
Entrapment.
God.
Entrapment.
Entrapment.
Yeah.
But I had speaking of that exact sequence, I put Mission Impossible the first
Yeah,
one.
Sure.
yeah, it's
Oh,
coming
yeah.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
I was
done.
thinking.
I hated it.
All
That's
right,
it.
Mom. You don't
Way
like any
too
of the
long.
movies.
It is way too long.
Well, it is, yeah. Any others before we get into some closing thoughts? Going once, going twice, anybody? All right, so I want to get into some closing thoughts. And also, we kind of have touched on it a little bit, but I did want to ask you guys because after, my first puzzle piece, Ronin, and of course, the first one being Heat, closing thoughts, and where do you think movie-wise the third one goes? Do we go, like, what specific action genre that, like, we switch things up do we do in the third one? So, Derek, we'll start with you.
I mean, the third one has to be something bigger and better. That's no matter what. So they're going to come back together again. Somehow along the way, we're going to see about a time jump. Because that's the one thing that we didn't really get a big time jump. I guess maybe 6 months or so or a year, enough for Gerard Butler to fall down and find a family or the family. And then for, O'Shea Jackson's character to go through 3 or 4 heists. Because he was in London at the end of the last one,
Right.
and then now he did this one, which they're both diamonds, but different ones, I guess. So I don't know. Say it. It could be Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've already seen Fast and Furious jump a Ferrari between the buildings, so I don't know what's left in Dubai.
Yeah.
But that just, it doesn't matter. They'll create it. There'll
Yeah.
be something out there. There'll be like the plates or
Yeah.
George Washington's teeth or something. There's going to be something out there that's going to be worthwhile, and they'll move on from that too. But at the end of the day, this movie is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's good for the audience. It's
Right.
fun. It's relaxing. It's easy. The same way, like when you get to a lot of these sequels, it's about delivering what people want again, and that's a lot of what people want. People want to see the same stuff over and over again. That's the reason we have, specific genres with specific people too.
But I'm saying
we're
it
in
didn't
Bad
do
Boys.
that.
We're in Bad Boys 4 for
Yeah.
a reason.
But it didn't do the things that you're saying because, like, the whole first one, that cat and mouse, that dirty cop.
That's what I'm saying.
that
Like
grit,
that.
it didn't do
That
stuff.
wasn't that because they didn't know there was going to be a second one. Now they know there's a second one. There's definitely going to be a third one. So
Well, no,
that's,
I know, but
think
you're
that's
saying that's what they wanted. I'm saying from the first one, as an audience member, what I wanted was that kind of like bare knuckle feel to it.
You can't go back, Jason. You can't go back. But you,
Well, they started with that, but they gave up on it because they wanted more money. So you could have it. I
That's
mean,
a- that's-
if everyone
yeah.
wanted, amazing stories, we'd all do stuff like the Coen Brothers, where it's just a snapshot of the week in the life of something, and that's it. We'll never go back again, and that'd be the perfect encapsulated story, and that's what it's supposed to be. But that's not the way money are. I mean, we saw the trailer for the new Captain America movie. How many of us are going, oh my God, I can't wait to see all the unanswered questions we have answered finally,
Speaking of which, we'll be back at Maya Cinemas next month for that. But yeah, so Casey, how about you?
I see this going maybe to. I think they're going to get the writing a bit tighter,
Okay.
and I think they will bring the grit back.
All right.
Ultimately, the box office is going to dictate that and audience feedback. But I could see him going into somewhere like Thailand or the Philippines, real tight city, gritty, going into Asia of some area to do who knows what.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to stay within the same storyline or something.
Yeah.
But I think they will get back to the grit. They tried to make this sexy,
Yeah.
and they kind of got off of their brand a
Sure.
little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how I foresee the third one, if there is one.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, for 1 second. The one thing I think about now when I try to picture why would make me happy if we go to the third one would be the fact that we're in the mafia now. So if they use their skills to go against another, like underground organization, I think that would be fun. That would be something we haven't seen. It would be it would be them going and doing like the John
That's
Wick
new.
kind of thing or whatever else too.
Yeah.
And so it's not going past all these security guards or whatever. It's just do you have the strength and the resolve to go past?
No, they're not
Evil
going.
people.
They're not going to do that.
It's too big.
You're getting. Now
way
it's no
better.
longer Den of Thieves. I mean, because now we're
Well,
gangsters. We're straight gangsters now.
No, they could be stealing something else though. So if they're stealing something from another rival family, I think that'd be awesome.
Dad, what did you yell out real quick?
If I was Gerard Butler in this movie, third one would be getting Melody out of jail.
Yes.
That's the girl.
The girl ringleader of the team.
A little hot feeling for her.
Well,
You would trust her? After
Yeah,
after you sent her to jail,
you can't.
You would trust her to sleep next to you after
Yeah,
that?
absolutely not. She's got to
Clearly,
stay.
he broke out
Said
O'Shea
after the
Jackson
second
after
time
he
he
chased
changed
him
his
and spent
No.
millions of dollars getting a
He
heist
actually
on
You
didn't
took
break
our
him
money
out.
away,
He
you
was
sent
told to
part
go
of her
tell
family to
him
jail.
because
Leave it to,
they would
leave
have
it to
killed
Dad
him.
to extend this
So,
podcast by another 10 minutes. Jason, what about you?
Well, I kind of like what you were saying about Philippines or Thailand because it gives us an environment that could be like sweaty and dirty.
Right.
So I was actually thinking
Vietnam.
the opposite of that, where you mentioned dirty. I didn't mean like
Right,
Yeah, you know what I'm
right,
saying.
yeah.
Like, but I would, and I don't think I've seen it, but like, what if we had like a heist movie in Antarctica or something?
I was
and
thinking Alaska.
Yeah,
Have you
Alaska,
seen
like
that
Insomnia,
Robin
the Nolan
Williams?
Yeah,
movies got
yeah.
that
Did you
great.
know
That
that was
didn't- yeah.
up in Alaska?
Yeah, I'd like to see something like that. Like,
Oh my God.
there was
If I
that.
want to see O'Shea Jackson sweaty in Thailand,
I-
or like iced up in Antarctica.
Actually, you bring
too.
up a good point. We should just make him do accents in every movie. So like, maybe we could go to Amsterdam just so he can be Dutch in the next
I want to go
one or
full on globetrotting. Every other scene he has a different accent. That's my
something.
answer.
Where in
to
the world
question.
is O'Shea Jackson? No one
Right,
can tell by
because
his accent.
Are they going to let him go back home, or is he
Never.
stuck in Europe now?
Never.
What
Yeah.
what's you work for me? Well,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
He's stuck now.
Can
Absolutely.
I work remotely or?
Well, I think we did enough of that. But Derek, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on multiple TV stations. I guess some here in Vegas, some other places as well. I have a website called Review Nation, and then I also feed a bunch of other networks as well. But at Derek Sante at Review Nation is pretty much the easiest way to find me. My next travel is to Sundance Film Festival. I'll be there for a week, and I'm going to be doing interviews and trying my O'Shea Jackson in the snow.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Steal
go.
the movies, Derek.
KC, where can people find you? And also, I want to say I watched the teaser for the new Dog City, and that is how you make a teaser. That thing really makes me excited to watch that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That is really
Thank you.
cool. Tell people where they can find that.
So my website is www.dogcityfilm, DOGCITYFILM.com. Give me on Instagram. It's hanging with KC, HANGNWITHKC.
Right on. And real quick, tell them a little bit like a synopsis of what this project is.
Oh, the Dog City Project.
Yeah.
Well, what we are doing, we wrote a crime drama about the underworld of gambling here in Las Vegas. You know, if your spouse has an issue with gambling, you go to the casino or what have you and say, please don't allow them to play. They're hurting our family, and they'll oblige.
Yeah.
But with addiction, as you may or may not know, depending on the severity, they will find a way. My character takes that action, and I take a lot of it. And when you're dealing with anything that's underground, consequences can be severe. So we got some really good characters. We got some great actors. My man Angel Mendoza is in
He's
it.
right there.
He sure is.
Angel's here?
Yeah.
No, the lights are hitting me, so I can't really. Oh, what's up, man? Gigi, Amanda, my brother Quan is in it. You know, and these guys have been doing theater, film. So, you know, we wanted to write something a little different. A lot of the crime dramas that are coming out of Vegas, especially from an independent standpoint, focus on drugs and, you know, gangs, street gangs, but we wanted to write something a little different, and so we're putting this out. We were pretty well received for the first one, which was our first time.
Yeah.
But you know, with micro budgets, you do what you can with what you have. We were fortunate enough to do the second one, so we're looking forward to showcasing that and
You see that new Jamie Foxx movie? Pretty good.
Oh my God! All
I
right.
didn't So you know, we want people to see the potential of the product, to see how, you know, characters can go this way, this way, this way, this way, and hopefully we can make more of them.
Absolutely. Jason, how about you?
I have not seen the new Jamie Foxx movie, Rich.
They just canceled the premiere in New York, actually, a couple hours ago because of the fires.
Oh man. Yeah.
Which are not in New York,
Well,
in
yeah.
case you need to know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're canceling, so they should be.
Tell them what's going
What
on
a
with
weird
you,
way to-
Jason.
What a weird way to plug myself.
Yeah,
after
yeah,
the
you're-
California wildfire
Yeah.
commentary. So, yeah. So I have a podcast, Awesome Movie Year, which actually the next episode we're recording is Bad Lieutenant, which is Dave's pick. Which
Which
this
one?
Oh, Harvey
The
Keitel.
first one, the Harvey Keitel.
Ah.
Yeah, I would have
Abel
definitely used
Ferreira.
that on the
Yeah,
first Den Of
that's-
Thieves.
that's
But
the-
yeah.
This would have been a good piece for that. 'cause
Yep.
He's such a slimy cop in there.
Yep.
No, he's not even close.
Well, in the first one, he was closer. But
Yeah, in the first one he's
Lieutenant.
closer. Here he's nicer.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a residency at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club every other Thursday right now at 11:30 p.m. Dave, who I've slaved over this podcast for years and years, has never been to one of my shows. So thanks for that, Dave.
Yeah.
He goes,
I've been to two, but you know,
When were they?
years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Obviously, and I run trivia nights. We're starting at awesome place, Jive Turkey down in the Arts District, and I also run Rebellion Pizza. Find me on social media, Jason Harris Comedy. Hooray!
Right on. And I want to thank Maya Cinemas for having us back. Like I said, we'll be back next month for Captain America. We'll also be at Downtown Cinemas next Saturday, January 18th for Wolfman. And so hopefully we'll see some of you there. And I want to thank my guests. Thanks everyone who showed up tonight. And that's our show. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Den of Thieves 2 Pantera live from Maya Cinemas. Thanks to Maya Cinemas again for having us out. Thank you to my guests, Derek Sante, Jason Harris, and KC Christon. Thanks to everyone who showed up. And thank you to you for listening to the show. If you're enjoying piecing it together, make sure you are subscribed. Like I said, we got a lot of episodes on the way. I think we got like 6 episodes in the can right now that will be hitting the feed soon. And of course, we'll be recording more over the coming weeks. We're also going to be back at Downtown Cinemas next Saturday, January 18th for Wolfman, another live show. And then we got more live shows on the way as well. So, you can find out about all that at our website, piecingpod.com, or just follow us on social media at piecingpod to stay up to date on everything that's going on. I think that does it for today. We got to close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And, I'm trying to think, what should I play today? I could go with something action-based for an action movie. I was thinking, do I have anything that sounds like Pantera because of the title of the movie? And then I was thinking, Pantera means panther, and we have little panthers with our cats, and then I was thinking of my new The Pup Pups album, A Boy and His Dog and Three Cats and a Bear, and there's actually a metal song about one of the cats on there, Neo, and that song is called Bite, and that's from the new The Pup Pups album, A Boy and His Dog and Three Cats and a Bear, which just came out on vinyl, and so I figured let's go with Bite because it kind of fits three bills at once while also promoting the fact that the new album's out. So let's go with Bite to close out the show, and we will be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
This is wonderful. This is everything. I love this so much. This is perfect. I'm with my dad. I love it so much. So comfy. So is mommy. I love it so much. This is all I want. I am so happy. I love it so much. This is wonderful. This is everything. I love it so much. Got that wet food. Tummy so full. I love it so much. Cuddle with mom and dad. Best day I've ever had. I love it so much. This is all I want. I am so happy. I love it so much.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.